Hi guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Kook Shed. Today we have a bodyboard review. The last few clips I've done have been about surfboards and surfboard related tips and techniques, so thought I'd balance it out with a bodyboard review. I ride bodyboards, surfboards and a mini mal as well, so I like to mix it up, and this channel will show that. I find that mixing it up with your surf craft, it helps you always be able to get a wave when the conditions are varied. You can always choose a different craft to go out on and maximise whatever the ocean throws up, and make sure that you're out there getting waves and having fun, which is what it's all about. It seems to also help with the way that you approach waves and the way you look at waves. And I find that the different crafts, they actually they really help you maximise the use of the wave. So that's just what I found, and that's why I like mixing it up. So today we've got the Nomad Matt Lackey Diverse model. Now Matt Lackey's a primarily drop knee rider for Nomad, and for those who might not know, the drop knee stance is a stance where you've got one knee on the bodyboard and the other leg is up with the foot flat on the deck. It's sort of like a half stance. So he's primarily a drop knee rider, but he has released a diverse model which allows you to ride drop knee and prone just as good. It's a very versatile shape. He's got a couple other models with Nomad that are primarily for drop knee with narrower nose and other differences. But this one I've found is really good for people who want to ride both styles, or who might primarily be a drop knee rider and just wants to prone out on a couple if it's a bit sucky, a bit hollow. Or vice versa, a prone rider that might like to get up on the odd wave drop knee if it's a little bit fatter or something like that. And that's what I love about this board. It's really versatile for those who like to mix it up. Now, for those who might not know, there's a drop knee and prone rider from the late 90s called Fred Booth, and he had a series of boards with Custom X, and one of them was the Quest, the Fred Booth Quest. So that board was based around his quest to find a board that rode equally as well prone and drop knee. And this board, the template, is almost an exact replica of that board, which is great because he no longer is releasing that board. The Custom X might still have a Quest available, but it's changed a little bit. It's not the Fred Booth template, which a lot of people know and love and know is going to work. So this is almost exactly the same as a Fred Booth Quest from the late 90s, early 2000s. There's a couple of differences though. I'll run you through them in a tick, but first I'll go through the similarities. It's got the PE deck, polyethylene deck. Polyethylene deck I found is just the go-to for a lot of board companies, a lot of board manufacturers, for a good reason. They're comfortable, they feel good, they've got good performance characteristics, they're not too heavy. So they've stuck with the PE deck skin, and they've also stuck with, I'll flip this way, Fred's preferred rail configuration. So on the Quests you had 55% rail and 45% chine, where the deck meets the rail. And I found that that's a very, very versatile combination. For small waves, generally 50-50, 50 there, 50 there is a good combination. And for larger waves, some people like 60-40. So 55 there and 45 there is a great combination, very versatile in nearly all wave conditions that you're going to take the board out in. The templates, the measurements are the same. I've got a Quest myself, 42.5, which is how long this board is. I've got a Fred Booth Quest, and it's exactly the same template. I think it's about 11 inch nose, and I think it's an 18 inch tail. It could be like off by a quarter of an inch. Don't quote me on it, but I put them up next to them, and they're bang on. The wide point is the same. So the widest point of the board, it's 19 inches from the nose to the wide point, which is a lot further down the board than a primarily prone board. A prone board, you'd have the wide point up a little bit, but just directly behind the elbow, to suit the prone riding. And yeah, I've just found that with Fred Booth boards, he puts the wide point down the board a little bit, and it helps make it a nice rounded shape for mixing it up prone and drop knee. One cool thing they've done is they've kept the tail piece, so they've still got the tail piece. A lot of newer bodyboards these days, they'll roll the deck foam all the way down to the slick, whereas I've found they've actually kept the deck piece, the tail piece, and I think that's a nice touch, because that's what Fred did, and well, some of them had rolled the tail piece, sorry, but yeah, generally it's a bit of a throwback to the classic old boards, which all had the extra tail piece there, and I think it's a nice touch, and it may even add a little bit of integrity under the ankle for drop kneeing. Not sure, but no, I like it. I like the feel. It definitely gives you a definitive edge there as well, so that might help with drop knee. You know, when you're hooking your ankle around that part of the tail. So the tail's a clipped crescent, which is the go-to for most boards that are versatile shape. Drop knees can even go for full crescent, and prone riders will even go for the bat tail, but just a nice clipped crescent where they've clipped it there. It's just going to do its job. It's an older design, but it works, and when you find something that works, you know, it's a good base to build from, so they haven't bothered to make any changes there, which is great. Surlyn Slick, in my opinion, is the best performance slick on the market. It actually started, it became a product, I think it was from DuPont Plastics, and they used it to cover golf balls. They found that it had very good projection characteristics for golf, and then bodyboard companies realised that they can apply that principle to their bodyboards and put some on the bottom, so it actually helps with projecting off the lip, projection. It also has it helps with the nice snapback after turns, compressing the board. When it compresses during a turn and it snaps back out of that, that's where you get your speed with the bodyboard. The Surlyn actually assists with that too. So it's pretty resistant to scratching as well, I've found. Now, they have made some changes underneath. Nomad and Matt Lackey have made some changes underneath, as opposed to the Fred Booth Quest, and inside the board. So you've got some nose bulbs at the top, hand bulbs here, hand grips. You'll find them on most modern bodyboards. Some people don't like them, but I've grown to like them. At first I thought they were a bit of a gimmick, but they actually do help you grip in some manoeuvres and things like that. They help in the barrel as well. They help you keep a grip on your board. You don't need to wax as much under these corners, I've found. Some people wax under the corner of their board for grip. I found I don't need to do that as much anymore because of these hand grips. That's just some zinc there, don't mind that. Right, so they've got channels as well. They've trained channels into the board, but they're not too extreme. They're nicely graduated channels. not too deep and not too long really. They're a nice touch, I think. It's one of the things I would have changed about the booth, is I would have put some channels in. I just find that it helps with your tracking on the wave. It can actually help you hold line better. It can even increase your speed in some situations. It basically acts like an inside-out surfboard fin, and it can actually, I've found, well, it seems personally to me that it can actually generate drive from the channels. So it's a welcome addition to the old Fred Booth shape. So in the core, you've got a Polypro core there now. The old Fred Booths were Dow core with a stringer or two stringers. Are quite heavy. This is actually not too bad. It's not too heavy at all. It's got the Polypro 1.9 density Polypro core, so 100% waterproof. It can handle warm water temperatures quite well, and they've put a stringer in the middle as well, a carbon stringer, I think. Another thing that the old booth did not have was mesh. So they've put mesh between the bottom of the core and the slick. Now I like mesh. I think it's great. It allows the board to flex more evenly than just with a stringer. If you've just got a stringer in the center of the board, the core can twist around that stringer over time, especially if you're doing drop knee, because it puts pressure on two opposite corners of the board. So the addition of some mesh as well is great. It helps with not only stiffness, but it helps provide flex in a more even pattern over the board. So that's always going to be a plus for performance, and the ability for the board to last longer too. So provided that it's got mesh and a stringer, it's actually not too heavy really. It's quite light, but it's not too light. It's a nice comfortable weight. So it'll cut through bumpier conditions as well. Some of the really stiff light boards will actually, I find they can be a bit bumpy if it's a bit choppy, if it's a lot of surface wind, things like that. Whereas no, this is nice. It's not as thick as the old booth, but I think the old booths were thick because they were Dow core anyway, PE core, and they needed to be thicker to float the rider. I think these dense Polypro cores, they don't need to be as thick to provide the same amount of flotation. And also the thinner core allows quicker response from the board. I think it'll flex and snap back quicker. Therefore you can turn tighter, and you can respond to the wave more rapidly, I think. Yeah, so that's about it, apart from just a general overview, and that it's just a great all-round shape. I'm really happy with it. I'm really glad that Nomad and Matt Lackey brought this board out. I was thinking of having to get a custom booth made up, whereas now they've brought this out. You know, it's great to just be able to grab a stock board and straight out of the shop, and it's ready to go from the get-go, and it's got all the things you need. If you like to ride prone and drop knee, mix it up, I definitely recommend checking this board out. It's available in 41.5, 42.5, 43.5. They're the ones that I know about. So if you ride a 42, go to 42.5. If you ride a 43, go to 43.5. That sort of thing. It's just a good go-to board. It's comfortable to ride. You don't have to learn to get used to the board. It's just got that nice, familiar, sort of rounded, versatile template that so many people have come to love. And yeah, no, they've done a great job. So thanks Nomad, thanks Matt Lackey, and thanks Fred Booth for producing one of the best all-time templates for bodyboarding for versatile riders, in my opinion. So if you've got one of these Nomad Diverses by Matt Lackey and you've ridden it, let me know how it went. Leave a comment below. If you've ridden one in a different size, let me know how that went for you too. Actually, I'd be interested to hear. If you like it, you don't like it, whatever, just let me know. If you've got questions, more questions, I might have forgotten something, just ask below and I'll do my best to answer them. If it was helpful to you, if this review was helpful, hit like. And if you want to see more bodyboard reviews, surfboard reviews, bodyboard tips, surf tips, whatever I come up with in future, just hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Kook Shed. That's it for now. Thanks for dropping in. Catch ya.